the details of this grant, whether we're going to be, quite honestly, here and get the benefits of it here, or whether it will be in North Conway and the benefits of it over there. I don't know if that's a correct statement or not.
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, they have said that they would like a decision today, whether cooperative extension will be here in Ospey or in Conway, because there is the fiber optic lines are going throughout the state, and right now it is slated to go to Conway to benefit cooperative extension and Granite State College and others along the line in the future. If it comes here, it's an extra $1 million to move it, to have the lines come through Ospey to Conway. So they want a decision because they're in the midst of getting that going. So.
Okay, thank you.
Would you reiterate that again? I didn't quite understand all of it.
The university has a grant for putting in fiber optic lines throughout the state. It's a partnership grant with other agencies or organizations, business. And what it is that this fiber optic line that allows for high-speed internet and high-quality two-way video conferencing. And what they need is a decision today whether they're going to put the line into our building in Conway or here in Ospey. So they would move it, even with the anticipation it may be 2 years before we move here, they would definitely put it here if we were going to move here. But if it's uncertain whether we're moving here, it's going to stay in Conway where they originally have it slated to go.
Thank you.
And if we decide in 2 years to bring it back down again, it will be $1 million to put fiber optic from,
And you could live without
for
fiber
whatever,
optics, trust me.
Yes.
whatever we can do.
Yes.
Representative Merrow and then Commissioner Sorensen.
Just a question. You know, a lot of us around here didn't have any high speed. And finally, we got DSL from Verizon, and they've got 2 levels there. They've got 1. And I know that works, again, for me personally. I have no problem with it. It's pretty fast. So my question is, if we didn't do this and we got DSL here by Verizon, which is reasonably fast, would that do the trick?
Yes.
Okay, so we don't care where they put it. Okay. That's my
Okay.
question.
Commissioner Sorensen.
Madam Chairman, as a lot of you know, I have a pick-your-own blueberry operation. And as people come in, I talk about what do they think we should do with the old nursing home. In explaining it to them in some detail as to what it might cost to renovate it and what might go into that building, I would say that the general feeling is that we should keep the old building and do what we've been talking about. I would like to get some public input from people around the room, if they so are inclined, to talk about what we've been talking about all this morning. The second point is, if the delegation wanted to move forward, would it be feasible to put a dollar amount as to what you'd be willing to spend, and we can come back as to what renovations or what we have to do to meet that obligation of a total of something less than $1 million.
Let me see. Go ahead, Representative Schmidt.
Going along with Commissioner Sorensen, I think it'd be a little premature to come to a vote today. Based on our discussions today, I'd like to see a paper prepared outlining a scenario 1, a scenario 2, a scenario 3, which is what we've all talked about. Scenario 1, as an example, could be demolish the whole building and put up a 5,000 to 10,000 square foot metal building. What is the cost? What does it accomplish? Scenario 2, what would it cost to save the core and do what we want to do? Scenario 3, as proposed. I think that would give everyone an opportunity to see in paper, in black and white, in front of them, the options that have been discussed. I think we could make a better decision. I would favor that. I don't want to postpone this inevitably, but I think we can just push it back a month or so and have that. You share that with the public, anyone in the room, and we can make a decision.
That's what I thought today was supposed to be.
Yeah. Just a thought.
Okay, Representative McConkey, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Before we open up for public input, Could I have the chairman share with us the list of needs that we had requested for today's meeting? Could we discuss that before we go out to public input and see where that needs list fits into what's proposed before us today?
And the needs list, okay, tell me what needs
Commissioners,
list.
commissioners were going to,
And I think that the one that Commissioner Sorensen read prior to, at the beginning of our hearing, is that what you're asking for?
yes, I am, and then I would ask Representative Fleck if what was provided to you was indeed what you envisioned coming forward for this meeting.
Okay, from what I can get, from what I'm saying, is that the cost to rehab the core for $15,000 approximately. That was the one of the
15,000
first.
square feet.
15,000 square feet, excuse me.
Needs.
Then the cost to do something with the wings. I know that that it looks like I am going to assume that the red wings are gone. We don't have to discuss those because those have been in another place. Of what it would cost to do something right now with the green wing that's right out here. Then the cost to brick up probably that red-green line right there. And of course, it wasn't red-green line when we asked it. And then the cost to do the interior construction for the core. Was there something else?
Yes, there was, Madam Chairman. I believe Representative Fleck had asked very specifically, those are all cost-related questions. I was under the impression that we were asking, in addition to that, what the needs were of the commissioners now and going forward, and why they needed to have that space that they're proposing to keep. Was I incorrect in that, Representative
No, I
Fleck?
think I think the cost was there, and you go ahead, because it was at a meeting that I was not here.
All right. I think I've heard some of those questions answered. Specifically, those relating to the core, where we're talking about the laundry facilities, the pellet boiler, the co-op, the maintenance shop. I think those have been addressed, as well as the need for storage of the buses, and which would be outside. We had talked about those possibly being stored within the facility, those outside. So those specific items, I think, have been addressed, but they can be contained within the core. As far as anything beyond the core, those issues have not been specified.
Thank you.
To my interpretation of what I've heard. Would that be true? If I might ask the Commissioner Sorensen, is that correct? We've really addressed the core needs. That is to say, the needs that might be accommodated within the core, what might be accommodated in the wing. That's something that was not really specified in any responses that I've heard today. We've heard some things about probation and other issues, but...
Yeah, I just provided you with a list of things that we've talked about. The only thing regarding the wing was maintenance wanted 6 rooms, I believe, for storage space. Other than that, the larger wing, you've got the potential there of probation, Carroll County Public Health Coalition, and other potential organizations that might be moved into the larger wing. And the square footage that's there.
So,
Does that answer what you
That-
feel is in? Yep.
yeah, thank you, Madam Chairman. That leads me to believe that, and I'm thinking of Representative Schmidt's point of view, that we asked what the needs would be, the need, not the want, of those extra wings, and that has not been provided. So I believe we're to a point that we can talk about money. We could entertain a motion not to exceed or so forth. I don't know what Representative Merrill has in mind, but I think that should be our charge, is to move forward here as opposed to taking more time to discuss what ifs. And I believe that we have the numbers in front of us to start talking about that and possibly to consider a motion.
Okay, Representative Algren and then Fleck.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I concur with Representative Merrill and Representative McConkey, but what the motion should be phrased such that we are requesting a plan and a budget that does not exceed X amount of money, upon which then we will vote at a later time if we accept that plan. And so that at least we can come to an agreement to what seems to be the amount that we would like to spend and what would be the most we could get for that amount of money.
Madam Chair, that was not exactly my motion.
Okay, let's just, Representative Fleck.
Your motion will be open to amendment.
Was it close?
Okay, Representative Fleck.
Well, in that vein, and I'm taking this perhaps from a different approach, but I would offer a motion that we retain the core facility and that a price, that a maximum be identified for retention of the core facility.
That's a motion by Representative Fleck.
Second for discussion.
Seconded by, who seconded? McConkey. I would, prior to, and we'll have some discussion on that, I think also today, what we need to be able to do is to get a consensus or at least a go-by about whether extension is coming to staying in Conway or coming down here. And that I don't know. So let's have a discussion, Representative Merrill and then McCarthy.
My motion would have been, my motion would have been to retain the core and eliminate everything else, the core building, and to keep the extension here. That would have been my motion.
Okay, that's
basically what Joe
Based
said.
on what I've heard.
I didn't address the,
Joe did not address the
Just address
extension.
Right.
but that would be a divisible motion, I
Well,
think, too.
But we
Okay.
could add an amendment if you wanted it to, but Representative McCarthy?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would have no problem voting on a motion similar to that, but I think it should be amended, that we would keep the core, as Representative Merrill says, but with two scenarios. One, without the co-op moving, and two, with the co-op moving, the cost differential between those two.
Did we
I
get a
don't think I
second to the motion?
understand.
There is a motion on the floor,
And a second.
and a motion by Representative Fleck with a second by Representative McConkey to keep the core facility and get a maximum price of what it would do to rehab it. That's your intention? Okay. Representative McConkey.
I would not be in favor of an amendment that came out and said that, I'm in favor of where we are with this. The cooperative extension, I'm personally in favor of bringing down here, but we don't know what that cost is right now. We don't know what their rent's going to be. So I believe what we've done in the past is said that we wanted the cooperative extension to seek an extension where they're at. So once we have a solid number that tells us how much money that building's going to cost, and we know what that number is, then the commissioners will be able to determine what proper rent should be for that space. So providing we can afford to do that, and providing the cooperative extension can afford to be in that space, because perhaps they want to think about $300,000 renovation versus $500,000 renovation. Once we have that in place, then that decision would logically be made for a tenant. I'm personally in favor of bringing the cooperative extension here, but only if they can afford to pay a fair rate and if the taxpayers can afford to make that renovation. So I think it should be two steps. I think we've asked the cooperative extension, so I would think we'd be hearing from them on the terms of their extension. We'd asked that in a previous meeting to stay in place where they are. And with that, so I would support the first motion, but I would not support an amendment to that motion that said, with certainty,